Well, folks, whether you live in the Creston neighborhood or are just a fan of the parks here in town, Grand Rapids Parks and Recreation wants your input on potential updates for Riverside Park. Good afternoon, folks. I'm News 8 digital anchor Luke Laster here from the Wood TV live desk. Joining me is Grand Rapids Parks and Rec Director David Marquardt. David, thank you for taking some time. We appreciate it. We're going to dive into some graphics here, but how are you today?
Doing good. Thanks so much for having me over today.
Absolutely. So let's get going here into a brief overview. Explain this to me as if I'm a member of the Creston neighborhood or just a member of town, but aren't really sure what's happening.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. You know, we're in the middle of our 5-year Parks and Recreation Master Plan update. We do this every 5 years. Sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it's a requirement by the state of Michigan. And when we complete these plans and submit them to the state of Michigan, it really makes us eligible for applying for really important grant dollars on an annual basis. And so that's the process that we're in right now, updating that full Parks and Recreation Master Plan, looking across our entire system, understanding what people are interested in, what changes they'd like to see, and one of those areas of focus for us is Riverside Park. So specifically for Creston neighborhood, we're very excited about this opportunity that lies ahead. We've had a couple of public meetings out in the park, the first of which was part of a Friday food trucks festival within the park, and then we've had a follow-up meeting since then. So a little bit more room for engagement and more opportunities for input, and what we're hearing and what we're seeing so far is really leading to some pretty special plan improvements.
So we do have some photos here that we'll pull up. We'll start with this one. Obviously, folks, this one, small print here, tough to see. This photo is included in the article that's attached to the stream over on woodtv.com. But David, tell me, you know, Riverside Park is huge. Tell me a little bit about what we're seeing here. There's the orange and the blue. Blue is what's existing, orange is proposed, correct?
Right, exactly. Those little graphics on there with letters and numbers, you're exactly correct on that corresponding existing versus proposed. So you're right, Riverside Park is close to 200 acres in size. It's massive, and it holds a tremendous amount of potential as well. So what we're seeing here on this plan graphic, again, this is coming from community input and what we've heard so far, but some really exciting things like a new rental facility for residents and community groups. That's kind of in the center of that park space graphic that you see there. And what we're considering for something like this is a really nice facility that's got both indoor and outdoor space. It's a location really that we could host future wedding events, different milestone events. It could be a pleasant indoor and outdoor space, outdoor terrace included with that. But the cool thing is that associated with this new facility, we've got some boat docks that are being proposed for that lagoon space as well, so that some of those educational kayak lessons and classes that we teach in Parks and Recreation can really be offered in kind of a more legitimate location within the city of Grand Rapids. So super excited about that. But as you go a little bit further south and a little bit further north, some of the bigger improvements that we're looking at include improved pedestrian and vehicular circulation. So right now, if you've driven through Riverside Park, it can be a little bit confusing at times. You're not quite sure if you're actually on a running trail or in the middle of the road that's running through the park. And so we're hoping to kind of clean some of that up and make it a little bit clearer and more simplified. But overall, it's more or less looking at naturalizing that park space, adding some Michigan native plants to this important ecosystem within the city of Grand Rapids, and then looking at ways in which we can clear up some of the water quality within that lagoon as well, making it more usable for residents.
So before we keep rolling here with the graphics, one thing that we'll say now, and then we should say a couple more times just so people know, how do you participate? How do you voice your opinion?
Yeah, great question. So we've got right now an active online survey that any resident in Grand Rapids can participate in. Given the size of this park, the fact that it acts like a regional park, the more voices that we have in determining its ultimate outcome, the better. But that survey is open through the end of this month, October 31st. And you can find that a couple of different ways. You can find it through the Parks and Recreation social media channels. We've got our Facebook page, our Instagram page. Both have links to this survey. But then we've also got this information posted to the city's web pages as well, grandrapidsmi.org. I think it's gov or org. I'm not sure on the tail of that address there, but yeah.
So we have another one of these graphics that we were looking at. Let's take a look at the last one here that you provided. I'll pull that one up here full for our viewers. Yeah. This one, kind of lays out again a little more of these activities and ecology opportunities, river access, special events. The off-leash area is huge for dog owners. Now, tell me a little bit more about what we see here on this graphic. Yeah,
one of the things we've been hearing loud and clear from residents is really a sense of belonging to their park system. And so some of those graphics that you see with, maybe it's grandpa and grandchild out fishing, we really wanted to be able to foster those types of opportunities within this important park space. But on top of that, Riverside Park is host to hundreds of events on an annual basis. I mentioned one of them, Food Truck Fridays, that we've got running throughout the summer months. But just beforehand, we were talking about Oktoberfest, and that just wrapping up in Riverside Park. So ensuring that we've got good, proper space for those events to take place, and for some of those food trucks and other vendors to be able to participate in these events is really important. And you're right, dog owners, we've been hearing a lot about that. We've only got 2 dog parks in the city of Grand Rapids right now.
Really?
Yeah. So to have something a little bit more centrally located within the city's park system was important to us. And what we heard from residents too is that Riverside Park, given the size that it is, might be a good location for something like this. So when we talk about an off-leash area, not anywhere where dogs could necessarily just roam for free.
Right.
It would be a fenced-in location. Yeah.
Definitely worth noting.
Yeah.
So so we've had actual public meetings at this point. I believe it was October 12th.
Right.
So when it happened, what took you by surprise? What was one of the things that you're like, we weren't expecting to get as much input as we did on this specific topic?
Yeah, I think one of the things that caught me a little bit by surprise, but made me smile too, is the fact that we got such good feedback on that boathouse proposal and an area for people to dock up their kayaks or their canoes. The other cool thing about Riverside Park, Luke, is that pre-COVID, with Grand Rapids Public Schools, we would run a week-long paddling experience for 8th graders. And during that time, we would put about 1,000 8th graders on the Grand River over the course of 1 week. We're going to come back to that now that we're coming out of COVID and everyone's we've got higher vaccination rate. But to be able to foster some more activities like that is really, really important. At the culmination of those weeks, we would have these family paddle nights. That was a great chance for kids to bring their parents back to this park space, really give them the opportunity to get on the water with their kids. And what we saw, the one time that we've had the chance to run this event, was just all smiles and people really nice. Loving the opportunity to come together. So this centralized location for this boathouse, this community gathering space, I think is going to be really crucial. Just so pleased that we've had such positive reception.
It's talking about those community type events that we can finally get rolling again. We're just coming off of Art Prize, just coming off of Riverbank Run. It's just nice to see people out and about and want to be out and about, especially in things like our city parks. What's been something that has excited the Parks and Rec department the most about this?
I think the thing that is really exciting for us is obviously the recreational aspects and being able to provide more access to the river, to the natural environment. That was really a part of the mission and vision that we deliberately took some extra time to sort of sort out in the last 5-year plan update that we did. We specifically worked with residents, asked them what was important, and took what was really more of a generic mission for the department and shaped it into something that is far more meaningful. So whereas in the past we were something more along the lines of, being an organization that would be the best at providing leisure services in the region, we're a little bit more specific now. And so we're now more about providing inspirational experiences through the collaborative stewardship of our natural, cultural, and educational resources. So there's a piece there. It's that stewardship of our natural environment that's really important to us as a Parks and Recreation department. And so when you see some of the aspects that we're proposing here about introducing more Michigan native plants and ensuring that we're doing better about caring for the water quality and lifting that up and making improvements. those are really important things to us that simplify our jobs, but I think make for a healthier, cleaner environment for people to be a part of it, as well.
David, I really appreciate the time here that you took today to chat with us. So one more time on, actually giving your input as a member of the community, just how we do it, and we mentioned it before, but just again, because that's, the most important thing here is the public input.
Yeah, definitely. So we've had great participation on our public survey, well over 450 responses, I think, to date. That survey is open through the Grand Rapids Parks and Recreation website, also our social media pages, Facebook being the primary one of those. That survey is open through the end of this month, October 31st, and I do hope that residents take advantage of the opportunity to see in a little bit more detail some of these plan recommendations and provide their voice in what they'd like to see. We are very specific about calling this plan Your City, Your Parks. There's a reason for that. We are very interested in community input, and we've done a fantastic job in getting so much so far, and we hope for a little bit more.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a link to our website attached to the stream that will take you over to where you can participate in, giving some input here for Riverside Park. David, anything else that you'd like to add?
Just looking forward to more resident voice and, brighter days ahead, too, when we can get more activity and gather as larger groups in these park spaces.
Really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Folks, again, head over to woodtv.com for all things Riverside Park here. It's been a look at the Wood TV Live Desk. My name is Luke Laster. Have a great afternoon, folks. We'll see you at 5.